Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So we're going to continue with this foldable. This is the third video in this series. We just did the parallel lines and how we can tell if they're parallel by having the same slope. And so now we're going to look at how we know if they're perpendicular. So we're going to look at this side now. So I'm going to close the parallel side, focus on perpendicular. And if you notice, these lines cross. So perpendicular means that you cross at a 90-degree angle, and so this is the sign for perpendicular, and so this is going to be a 90-degree angle. So we can say intersect, or means they cross at 90-degree angle. And so this is going to actually be very helpful for us when we start talking about the different lines of symmetry that we have in different quadrilaterals in the next part of the chapter. So these two lines intersect, and this right here is a right angle. And so if you take any piece of paper and you put it into where they intersect, you can see that it's a right angle that way. If you use a protractor, you can tell it's 90 degrees. And so every single corner where they intersect is 90 degrees. And so that means these are perpendicular lines. And so we have to look at what happens with the slope of perpendicular lines. So you can tell they are not the same because they're not going the same direction. One of them is positive and one of them is negative slope. Whereas if you look back here, negative slope, positive slope, positive slope. Those are the same. Here, they're not the same. One's positive, one is negative. So let's look at the slope for A. So A is this bold one. So to go from here to the next point, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and then over 1. So I'm going to go up 3, over 1. And so that would be the slope of 3 over 1, which is just plain 3. Slope is helpful to have your rise over run as a fraction, even if it's 1. But you're going to see it written as just 3. So like you can see over here, we have 3 and negative 3. And then you have the 1/2 and the 2, so these are going to be important. So our rise was 3 over 1, so that's our slope. And then B, I'm going to circle this 3. And then B, I'm going to start here, and I have to go down 1, and then I have to go over once I go down, 1, 2, 3. So I had to go down 1, and then I had to go over 3. And so that'd be down 1, over 3, and 1/3 I cannot simplify anymore, and it's negative because I had to go down to get to my next point. And so if I look at these two, see one's positive, one's negative, and I can see this is 3, and that's 1/3, but if you took 3 over 1, all that happened was you took that and you flipped it. So in math, that word of flipping a fraction is called a reciprocal. And so in perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite sign, and then the reciprocal fraction. So opposite sign and the reciprocal fraction. So in other words, what I always think about, I think of opposite and flipped. But in mathy terms, it's the reciprocal and it's the opposite. So 3 is positive, the perpendicular line is negative, the whole number 3, the reciprocal of that is 1/3. So I just took that 3 and 1, I traded places. So now I need to go here and I need to fill in the chart. So given the slope, what is perpendicular to that? So remember, I need to, if it's positive, it needs to become negative. So it's negative. And then I need to switch places. So this is going to go on top and that goes underneath. So it was positive, so now it's negative. And then the 3 is on top and 2 is in the denominator. Numerator is 3, denominator is 2. This negative doesn't matter where it goes. It could go to the 3 or it could go to the 2. Doesn't matter where that negative goes, it's just on one of them. And so now negative 4 is actually, remember, negative 4 over 1. So now it's negative, So it needs to be a positive, and I'm going to rotate or flip this fraction over, so it's positive 1/4. This is negative, which means the opposite of negative is also positive. And then I need that 4 in the numerator and that 1 in the denominator, so it's positive 4/1, which is just plain 4. And then last but not least, this is 2/1. That's a positive number. So my perpendicular line will be negative, and I'm going to flip those upside down. So negative 1/2, or is my reciprocal of 2. And so my perpendicular line will have a slope of negative 1/2. So now let's look at, are these lines perpendicular? So look at our slopes only, negative 1/2 and 2. So negative 1/2 is negative, and this is positive. So that part is checked off. What happens if I flip this around? That would become positive, and then it would become, so the reciprocal of that would be a positive 2/1, which is just plain 2. And that's actually what I have here. So yes, these are perpendicular. It's opposite sign, and it's the reciprocal. Opposite reciprocal. So that is true. Now let's look at 3 and negative 3. So I have the opposite part, but 3 and negative 3 is opposites. It's not the reciprocal. The reciprocal would be, if I were to flip that, 1/3. So I would need negative 1/3 to make that be perpendicular, not negative 3. So this is no. This is not a reciprocal. And then just like we said over on our parallel side, we said x/7 is actually 1/7. So I'm going to put this as 1/7 is my slope. And so that's positive. So to be perpendicular, I need to have an opposite sign and the reciprocal. So I would need to have negative 7/1, or just plain negative 7 to be perpendicular. But I actually have 1/7 again. So these are actually parallel, not perpendicular. So I'm going to put no. These are parallel. So now we've had some practice looking at it if they're perpendicular or parallel, and why. So this one again was yes because it's opposite reciprocal, no because it's not the reciprocal even though it's opposite signs, and these are actually parallel. Okay, so last but not least, I need to write the equation of a line that goes through this point and is perpendicular to 2/9 x minus 5. So we're going to do just like we did before. We're going to graph y equals 2/9 x minus 5, and that'll be the exact same place as it was on the parallel side. So minus 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's going to be my first line. So now that's a positive slope. I need to have a negative slope and the reciprocal. So I need the slope of a perpendicular line needs to have a slope of opposite. So that's positive, so it's going to be negative. And then reciprocal of that would be flipping that over 9/2. So the slope has to equal 9/2, and it has to go through the point 0, 4. So that's your y-intercept. So that's going to be negative 9/2 x, and then it's plus 4. That's where my y-intercept is. So I'm going to go to positive 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I need to go down 9, and then to the, so this is down. And then this is to the right. So down 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, same point there, but then over 2. So over to the right 2. 1, 2. So that's going to be my next point. And so I'm going to connect that using my blue just to help us visually see a difference there. Oops, that line wasn't very straight. There we go. All right. Sorry if that was out of the camera's view. So I went down 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then to the right 2, 1, 2. And so this is that line right here. This negative 9/2 x plus 4. And then we'll go back like the other one we did. We'll just do that. All right, so now here's the new one that I graphed. And again, check it. Here's my straight edge. Ooh, that fits right in there. So these are crossing at a perpendicular. So I'm going to put this box there that shows that these are perpendicular. So this is a 90-degree angle of intersection. All right, so this is going to go in. If it's not already glued into your composition book, go ahead and glue it in. And so I will just put this right on top of the one I already had glued in that I had made. And so when you open this, I can't zoom out or else I'll show you better. You have your parallel side, you open your parallel side, and ta-da! There's all your beautiful notes you've already taken on parallel lines. Same distance all the way through. Close that up, perpendicular. Open that up. There's your beautiful perpendicular notes, and to help you remember what that is and how to use it with your slope. So there you go. And you're going to use these to help you through a lot of different things in this rest of the year, actually. So I hope these notes were helpful. Ask Ms. Brimley if you have any questions so that I can help you make sure you understand better. And we're going to practice a lot. So thank you. Good job taking your first notes for Mrs. Wormley. Instead of doing a class lecture, we're going to do it on Edpuzzle. So you can take notes at your pace and have them to refer back to. All right. Have a great day.